everybody, and welcome back. I am so excited to have you here and super happy to have a very special guest. This is my brother, CJ.
Hello everybody, I'm super excited to be on here today answering your questions.
Yes, okay, so we're going to be talking all things healthy, divine, masculine energy today. We're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to be talking about what healthy masculine energy men look for in women, what you want to look for in your man. We have some loaded questions. We're going to be talking about female friendships, friends with opposite gender, values, qualities that healthy masculine energy men have. We have so much. And what I'd asked you girls to do in the last video is send me your questions that you want me to ask him. So we have those ready and prepared. And what we will also do is take any questions that come up from this live stream. So let's go ahead and get started. So question number one, what habits build healthy masculine energy, in your opinion?
I think there's a lot of habits that build into healthy masculine energy, and I think the biggest thing that you can do as a man to feed into that masculine energy is having discipline and just being able to stay consistent on whatever it is you're doing. And discipline doesn't just have to be in one specific area of life. Like, it doesn't just have to be discipline in the gym, although that is very important to be consistent in doing it every single time like it's your last time. Being consistent in what you eat, drinking water, waking up at the right time, making sure that you're accomplishing all the goals that you set for yourself during the day. It just provides such a feeling of accomplishment when you lay your head down on that pillow at the end of the day knowing that like I did everything I set out to do and I was successful in my goals today.
That is so good. And just like we always talk about here, when you look good, you feel good, and you do good. So if a man is feeling good on the inside, he's going to treat himself better and he's going to be able to treat you better. So when your man is disciplined with what he eats and what he watches, you can trust that he's going to be disciplined in all areas of the relationship. Faithfulness, his integrity, his respect, his honor for you. I always say this, when I am dating, and the very first quality that I'm looking for in a man, is he disciplined?
Yeah.
That is so, so important. So that is something to really look for in your healthy masculine energy man. So another habit that he has that I am just always so blown away by, he's always sharing information that he learns. He listens to a lot of podcasts. He is doing his inner work. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Of course, yeah. I think that podcasts have been such a great invention of this. They've been around for quite some time, but I feel like really in the last 5 years, specifically over that pandemic, there were so many people that were like, I've got a lot on my mind and I've got some buddies that I want to talk to, and let's just throw it out there on the internet and hope that somebody finds some relation to it.
Yes. And if I could say something real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No.
This is so important. When I say he listens to podcasts, it's not the Andrew Tate podcast. It's not the alpha masculine podcast. It's podcasts about how to grow your mind, how our brain is wired, how to change your thoughts and your habits and your beliefs. And specifically, he likes podcasts that are not coming from the top and the most popular people in the world. They're coming from very grounded, very normal people. What else did you have to say about that?
So I think that there's a lot of good that can come from listening to the big podcasts and the people that have a lot of money. I think that they have a lot of opportunity and they're able to get people on there that, you know, normal people like us just wouldn't be able to have that conversation with.
Yep.
And for that aspect, it's good to be able to hear from those people outside of the limelight and not speaking in an interview or like something very formal. But just being able to hear from other people just like you and I that they work a job, you know, they have school, they have kids, they have normal lives going on.
He's in school and has a job. Yes.
Just being able to hear from people that are living life like me is something that makes the information more relatable. When I hear them talking about they're struggling in a relationship, being able to see that other normal people are going through the same things I am, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. What does this person have to say about it, and how has it affected their relationship? Like, what are they gaining from what they're talking about?
Yes, that is so good. And we did already talk about fitness and health. I wanted to touch on that more. Someone who takes care of their body and takes care of their mind, that is one of the best habits that you can look for, because it's that discipline and it's honoring your body. Deep down, we are always wired to think, who's going to be the best mate? Who can I produce the best kids with? Even if you don't want kids, unconsciously we are looking for that in a partner. So when someone is taking care of themselves, it is a huge, huge green flag. It doesn't have to be 2 hours in the gym every single day, but it's something to invest in taking care of your body and your health. He had mentioned something too about enjoying the process. This is a very good habit that I believe healthy masculine energy men have. Enjoying the process. what was that quote that you said about the steps?
So it was a quote from somebody who not a lot of people may be familiar with. His name's Sam Solik, and he's a fitness influencer.
Okay.
And he's 21 years old,
Wow.
just massive physique, just really, really good looking dude.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the man who enjoys walking is going to walk so much farther than the man who has a destination in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And just on that concept, enjoying the journey like she was mentioning before, if you enjoy the process of whether it's suffering, grinding, like getting to that point, when you do eventually reach that goal, it's going to be so much more fulfilling and just kind of an overwhelming sense of achievement because of you knowing all the work that you've put into it versus just looking to get to that goal. Once you get it, then it doesn't really mean anything because it was just a goal and now it's done.
Yeah.
You have to set another goal. But if you enjoy that process, then the entire time that you're working towards that goal, you're enjoying that step-by-step movement.
Yep. And I think that really plays into that idea of being present and being patient. Huge, huge green flags that you want to look for in your man. If you can enjoy the small steps, he's going to be such an enjoyable partner to be around. This goes for both men and women. People who are present, they're connected to the moment, connected to their bodies. And it's really difficult in this day and age when we're constantly being overstimulated by our phones. So I even think habits such as how often is he fully engaged in a conversation? How often is he scrolling on social media? These are really, really important habits to be aware of. And another one before we move on to values. I'm so excited for all the questions that we have. They get so juicy. So disagreeing without devaluing. This is something him and I have always gotten along very well. So we have I have 3 younger siblings.
I only have one.
Yes, he only has one. So I have a younger sister and 2 younger brothers, and he's one of my brothers. So him and I have always been able to disagree without devaluing each other. And I think him and I just have a lot of common with our values. So your partner should be able to be open-minded. He should be able to listen to your ideas, your thoughts, without trying to change them and without judging them. And this is a habit that I notice you have.
I think that for me personally, disagreement has been kind of like a sticky point to get throughout my whole life. Just wanting to be able to be friends with everybody and not have conflict is the way that I've operated through life for so long. But eventually you're going to get to a point where you have to disagree with somebody because if you don't, then you're compromising your own values.
Yeah.
And that's something, that's like the last thing you want to do is compromising and stepping down on your own values. Because then it kind of feels like, well, who am I now? If these aren't my values and I'm giving into somebody else's values, what are my values? Who am I as a person?
Yes.
And being able to state your opinion, whether it be in agreement or disagreement with somebody, and not be putting them down for it, not be saying your opinion's stupid just because it's different than mine. Because none of us really know all of it.
That's true, yeah.
And just being able to say, like, this is my perspective, this is how I see it, how do you see it, and how can we kind of come together to figure out how we're going to keep moving forward, specifically in relationships, despite this disagreement.
So good. I'm so happy that he's here because I'm always talking about conscious and healthy men. Now we have one in the physical form to actually show you. I'm just always so blown away by him and so proud of his mindset and the inner work that he's done. And there was something else that I was going to add to that too. Yes, there's so much peace with being able to understand everyone has their own absolute truths. This is one of the biggest shifts in my own inner work journey. Realizing that someone could have a completely different opinion, that is still the truth, just not for me. That has given me so much peace because now I look at people, there's no more judgment, there's no more trying to change them and that tension and that energy. It's just, okay, accepting them and moving on because you are always a magnet for the people that are in alignment with you. You will attract them. You don't need to change the people who aren't in alignment. So that's really huge. Okay, so now let's talk about some values. There's so many good questions that I want to ask. So what are some values that you have?
I think values is such a wide topic that there's never any way that we're going to get through all the values.
Yeah.
So let's just touch on the main ones that kind of lead my life. They're in everyday decisions. They're constantly on my mind. They're never absent from my thinking process.
Yeah.
So starting out, integrity. I think integrity is the greatest value that any person, man, woman, or anything could have.
Yeah.
Being able to do the right thing despite the fact that nobody's watching is going to set you in a league of your own, and it's going to give you a confidence and respect for yourself. If you're always doing things to kind of to feed your selfish ambitions when nobody's watching and you're doing things, the easy way out, even though nobody else knows that and nobody else is seeing that that's the kind of person you are, deep down you know that that's the kind of person you are.
Yep.
So in those moments when nobody is watching, being able to do the right thing and do it 100% correct and doing it exactly how you would be doing it if like your boss or some other authority was watching, it gives you a sense of, I know that I can do the right thing even if there's no reward for it.
Yeah.
That integrity is such a strong value.
And I see him doing this. People always ask, how do you build confidence? That right there. It's knowing every decision you make is 100% the best that you can be doing. When an ex texts you or when someone is trying to come in on your relationship, it's knowing I get to make the right choice. Even if my partner is not here in this moment, I get to honor and respect myself. I get to honor and respect my partner. It's this way of thinking with everything. And another value that you have, that open-heartedness. I see this in you so much.
Yes. And I think this kind of even relates to the next one. My open-heartedness comes from my faith in Christ and being able to show unconditional love to everybody despite what they've done to you.
Yeah.
The concept of not having any enemies is such a strong idea to hold on to, because when you really think about it, what do enemies bring into your life? They bring trial, hardship, anger, hatred, and those are all values that I don't want to have in my heart on the everyday. So being able to forgive, accept, and kind of heal with people and show that open heart and just being able to love as strongly and as passionately as you can, that is a value that is going to take you so far in life, and that is a value that should be kind of one of those main top 3 things that you're looking for when you're trying to find a partner.
Absolutely. And him and I both have that faith in Christ. That is my foundation for my happiness and my peace. It is God. It is Jesus. He has been a huge, huge part of my life. And what I love about this channel, there's so many beliefs. There's so many different religions and faiths that we have. If you have a partner who has a faith in God, it is going to take the relationship to a whole other level. As I've talked about in a previous video, I believe the video is called 5 Qualities to Look For in a Healthy Masculine Man. Number 1 is, does he have a faith in God? Because if he goes to a source that's higher than himself, he's not led by his ego. He is led by, as you would say, perfect values.
Yes.
And so that's going to be a huge green flag to look for in your relationship. Is he open to believing in God, a source that's higher than himself? And another one that's so beautiful is positivity. This is a huge value that I see in him.
I think that we wake up every day and have the choice to react to every single situation, even just react to how we're feeling in the morning. If you wake up and you have a headache, your stomach's feeling bloated, and your joints are aching, you can go through that day and just be negative and have a frown on your face, spreading that negativity to others. But that's only going to increase like the difficulty of that day.
Yep.
Whereas if you wake up and you say, like, despite how I'm feeling, I have the opportunity to go out and make this the best day that I've had ever. I have the opportunity to try something new, to be better than I was yesterday, and to be great today. And knowing that you have that choice between greatness and just not greatness, sticking to that positive mindset is going to take you so far. It's going to carry you through that day, and it's going to make you feel essentially lighter, because you know that even though things aren't like perfect, it's not exactly how I want it to be, I'm going to keep a smile on my face. I'm going to keep doing what I have to do because I want to feel good. And you have control over how you feel every day.
100%, and it's so important. I think a lot of people will say, well, it's okay if he's not positive right now. He can be positive later. It doesn't work like that. The way that he's showing up right now is how he is going to be forever. Of course, people do change through inner work. But the way that a lot of us women work is we will think, well, if he's not positive in this situation, if he can't look at the bright side of this, how is he going to look at things when we have a difficulty through pregnancy? How is he going to look at things when we're in a really tense spot in our marriage 50 years down the line? So it's not just this one moment, it is the values that get carried into every single moment going forward. So they're so important. I love that quote that says, how someone does anything is how they do everything. So really look out for these.
And I also think on top of that, positivity isn't like faking a smile and just showing up with a lie on your face, because that's disingenuous and it's going to make you feel even worse than if you just remain neutral through the situation.
Yes.
And being able to bounce back to positivity is more of that point that I was trying to make. It's okay to have negativity in your life. Having a good balance of everything is where you want to be in. And if you stick just to positivity, you're going to get tired of it. You're going to get run out. It's going to feel so one-sided. So being able to feel those negative emotions, process them, but not stay in them.
Yep.
Being able to get through them in a healthy manner and return to that positive state of mind is what the goal is.
Yes.
Not just ignoring that the negative feelings are there, accepting that they do exist, feeling them for the time that they're there, but not sitting in them, not kind of festering in that negativity and looking for a solution to get back to where you need to be.
And that kind of goes into the next question. We're going to talk about how healthy men regulate emotions, how to create that safe space for your man to be able to be vulnerable and to be emotional. But first, there was something that you said that was so key. It's not faking the positivity, it's honesty. Honesty, that is one of the best values that you can have, because here's what's going to happen. If you have a partner who is honest, they're going to give it to you straight. They're going to be direct. They're going to tell you their truth. If they don't, that is a red flag, because what's going to happen? Resentment will build. The relationship will end if there is built up resentment. It will either end by just distance apart, or it will physically end, a breakup or a divorce. So if you have a partner who is not telling you the truth, they are not speaking their mind, they agree with you on everything, that to me is a red flag, because there's no honesty. And later down the line, it is not going to be good. And so healthfully managing emotions. So this is so difficult because men are taught it's not safe to express emotions, and it is heartbreaking. Can you imagine the world that we would live in if everyone could regulate their emotions healthily? It is possible. Inner work is available for everybody. So CJ, how do you suggest that men healthfully release emotions?
So I think there's such a wide variety of different methods that everybody can use, and everything's not going to work for everybody. One man's perfect strategy for releasing emotion and kind of getting through tough times isn't going to work for another man, because everybody's not the same. Everybody has different kind of needs and wants of how they want to work through whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
But just a few examples from my life that I like to do. The gym, I think, is the greatest kind of way that you can healthily release any kind of emotion. And it doesn't just have to be like an angry, a sad, like one of the kind of poor emotions. You can be super happy and just having the best, most ecstatic day ever, going into the gym, and you're walking out of there feeling like $1 million. Like, I don't think there has been a better feeling than having a great day, having a great workout, and just those two things fused together is like a great feeling.
Yep.
But you can also use it when you're angry and don't want to lash out, you don't want to curse at anybody, you don't want to be kind of like a lower class man. Keeping those emotions intact until you finish whatever it is you're doing, whether you're at work, whether you're with your partner, whether you're taking care of your parents, whatever it is, being able to hold it and control it until you're able to release it in a healthy manner is a big strength that so many people lack in modern society.
That is a perfect balance, because yes, you should release emotions, but using emotional intelligence, there's a time and a place to do it.
Yes.
I love that you said that.
Mm-hmm.
And something else that we both believe in, it is having healthy, trusted sources to go to and be vulnerable. So do you believe that it's beneficial for men to have either a friend or a therapist or someone that can be a safe place that is also they have the guidance to be able to guide you?
So I don't think it's just beneficial. I think it's essential to healthy living and just being like even okay with where you are.
Yeah.
If you don't have anybody that you can trust to tell you how it is exactly, and like tell you the things that you don't want to hear, then you're never going to grow. You're never going to have anybody pushing you to be the best version of yourself. Yeah. And in the same sense, if you never have anybody that you can like sit down, be vulnerable with, and like let the tears that have built up over however long you've been holding them in, if you don't have somebody to do that with, then it's going to come out alone. And just for me personally, I would love to be with like another person that I can let that out, as opposed to being alone with those feelings.
Yes, and that kind of goes into the next point here too. Actually, real quick, another good way to release emotions, there's things like hugging and just crying. When you release tears, we have both talked about this, when you release tears, there is something on a physical level that happens to you. You're not just releasing the tears, you are releasing those blocked and those trapped emotions. It's so healing. So if maybe you're a man that's watching this and you feel that you cannot cry, here's what I would personally do. I would either watch a sad movie, I would listen to sad music, get yourself into a safe place where you feel the tears start to come, where you feel that sadness come. You almost want to purposely trigger that sadness, and then you just release. You will up-level your life and your healing and your inner work so much. And it also really helps to have a partner who creates a safe space, which the next question, how can women create a safe space for men to be more vulnerable? If you are a partner, a girlfriend, or a wife, how can you do this?
So this is a really big question. It's a very kind of tricky and thin line to walk on.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you want to have that space where your man can be vulnerable and can open up and share the things that he's dealing with internally here and here with you. But at the same time, you don't want to put your man down. You don't want him to feel small by like coddling him and like making him feel like, oh, because that just makes the man feel worse despite whatever he's feeling. Plus that, then it's like, it makes him feel small like a child. It's kind of demeaning. So being able to find that balance of, hey, you can share whatever you need to with me. We can talk about this. We can cry about it. But also, we are going to work through this. You can't stay weak forever. It's okay to be weak, but it's not okay to stay weak. Yep. And I think that's the biggest point that at least I look for in a relationship, is being able to find somebody that I can be vulnerable with and shed tears and not feel judgment at all for it.
Yes.
I think for a lot of men, the biggest thing and the biggest issue as to why they don't share these emotions and feelings is that feeling of judgment, because there's such a high standard of what men are supposed to be in modern society.
Yeah.
Whenever that kind of idea isn't in alignment with what I am, I feel judged and I feel like kind of put down. And being able to be with another person, whether that's your partner, your best friend, like a parent, or just having somebody that you can say like, hey, there's a lot going on in life right now. I don't really know how to get through it. I don't know how to fix this or find a solution to it. I just need to like let everything out right now. And then we can find a solution after I've kind of let go of all this extra emotion that I'm feeling internally.
That is so good. That is true masculine energy. And what is so hard about the internet today is women are told, be so emotional, only be in your body, don't use any masculine energy, and men are taught don't use any feminine energy. That to me is wounded feminine energy and wounded masculine energy. Divine, beautiful, healthy feminine energy is the balance of the masculine and the feminine. It's just like he said, being able to hold that space and the empathy to say, it's okay, you can come to me, what's on your heart, but also say, here's how we're going to pick you up, because we're not going to stay here together. The feminine and the masculine together are beautiful.
Yes.
Same with the masculine energy. If it's all, I have to be tough, I cannot connect to my emotions, I cannot release, I cannot open up my heart, it's wounded masculine energy.
Yeah.
So men need feminine energy. You need both. It doesn't matter who you are. So do not listen to the side of the internet that says only be feminine, only be masculine. That's what true feminine energy and masculine energy is. And he had told me something that was so eye-opening. He said, even if a woman lifts her eyebrows a little bit, or even if she shifts her body when I'm telling her something and being vulnerable, I feel judged. The smallest actions, the tiniest micro expression can throw off your man's nervous system and cause him to just close up. So be so careful when he is being vulnerable. And would you agree that in order to create more safety with vulnerability, it's repeated actions again and again, letting your man know it's safe to come to me without judgment. That's how you build it.
And I think that, like we were talking about before, action speaks so much louder than words. If you tell your man that you can be vulnerable and open up, that's one thing, and he might even play into that and like see if you really can. But
almost test you.
Yeah, almost like a little test, just seeing like, can I actually be vulnerable, or is this going to hurt me in the long term?
Yep.
And the more that you just show your man that he can be vulnerable, whether it's a small hug or just putting his head on your shoulder, just small things to let him know like, hey, I'm here. Physical action speaks so much louder than words, and being able to put that in repetition as time goes on and as you build in that relationship with your partner, those small physical actions and taking steps to show like, I'm about what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying it, I'm walking the walk as well.
Yep.
Is going to build that trust. Integrity as well, yes.
That's so good. Oh, I love that. Now, would you say if a woman had broken that man's trust and given him some judgment when he shared, is it possible for him to ever feel safe opening up with her again?
So that's a really tough question, and it depends on the man himself. It depends on whether that man wants to heal that relationship and wants to build that trust back. That's the main point. And once you have the answer to that question, that gives you your yes or no. If he does want to repair that relationship and get back to that point, most definitely it is possible, but it is going to take work to get there.
Yes.
But if once that trust is broken, the man steps back and he says, okay, this isn't something that I want, this isn't something that I'm willing to put the work for, I'm not going to be vulnerable, then that answer is no, and it's not going to be built again, because it's not a two-way street. It's just the man stepping back, and now there's no healing going on. That's
so good. And that answers another question. Are all relationships fixable? The answer is just what he said. If both partners are willing to put in the work, yes. It doesn't matter what has happened, yes. But you have to know your boundaries, you have to know your values. And as the woman, I always tell my girls that I coach, if you do not feel safe in your body, you will not ever fully be in your feminine energy. So if you don't feel safe fully around your man, you're not going to be in your feminine energy. Is keeping him in your life worth it? There's going to be areas, your creativity and your passion and your excitement for life, they're rooted in your feminine energy. So if that's dimmed in any way, is that man worth it? And the same goes the other way around too. I did see a question from one of my girls, how can my man be more masculine? I think that really just summed it up. It's the balance of the feminine and the masculine. That is true masculine energy. It's just encouraging him, being the woman that is super uplifting, sees the best in him, holds the space for him, and pushes him to be his best self.
And I see that in my own life when there is things that I'm going through, or like just tough days that you get home and you drop the work bag, kick the shoes off, and it's like,
Yeah.
what a day.
Yeah.
Being able to come back the next day even stronger and push farther than you did that day before, there's an internal feeling of just like accomplishment and masculinity that despite yesterday I was down feeling small like this, today I can bounce back off that rock bottom and kind of soar to heights that I've never even seen before.
Yes.
And that's one way to kind of feed into that masculine energy as a man, is being able to bounce back from those tough days.
Yes, that is so good. And you have the power as a woman to fill him up with your energy and to make him go to new levels. It's so amazing to see a lot of the women that I coach, a lot of the women in my courses, their man, his career, his finances, his mental health, ends up healing and leveling up so much as a result of their women's inner work. We are so powerful as feminine energy beings, so you can inspire your man to go to new levels.
Yeah.
You have so much power, girl.
You only need one person in your life telling you that it is possible and that you can do it for
Yeah.
you to believe it.
Yep.
And it can't be out of a place of just saying it to say it. It needs to be true, genuine belief in your man that, hey, you can do this, you have the ability to get this done, you're the person that's going to get it done.
Yep. And side note real quick, it is possible for any man to connect to his healthy masculine energy. It doesn't matter if he was told you're never allowed to cry. It doesn't matter if he was shamed for that. It doesn't matter what he's been through in his past. I love that quote that says, it's not your fault what happens to you, but it is your responsibility to heal.
Yes.
We have both healed and done so much inner work from our past. It is possible for every single person. So if you're thinking, well, that's great, but my man can never do this, yes, he could, if he is willing to. And the same goes for you too. So this is more of a fun question. When you ask a woman, what do you want to eat, babe? What should she say?
Ooh.
Should she say, I don't know, you pick, or should she actually just give her honest answer? What do you think is best?
So I think it depends. If you know what you want to eat, just speak your mind. And if you're in a healthy
Yeah.
relationship, the man's not going to have any problem with if you want McDonald's or if you want Nobu for dinner.
Yeah.
Just keeping in mind what your price range is. But
Yeah.
if you have something like on your palate, if you're really just feeling birria
Yes.
tacos and some consomme, go get some tacos, go
There you
enjoy
go.
it with the night. But if you really don't know what you want, then you can use it as an opportunity to try something new, to go out on an adventure and try a different kind of food that you've never had before, and just experiencing new things with a partner. That's a memory that you're never going to forget.
And would you agree that it's so attractive when a woman is connected to her desire, or
Yes.
to her desire?
Most
She
definitely.
knows what she wants and she tells you. That's attractive.
When she knows exactly what she wants and tells it to me directly, there's just a feeling that like, okay, this is what she's going to have. I don't care what it costs. I don't care how far the drive is. This is
That's
what she's
beautiful.
going to get.
That is masculine energy. That is so beautiful, yes. Next question. What does an ideal relationship look like for you? Maybe just some general things.
So I think this is going to be very specific and unique to everybody. Everybody has their own needs in a relationship and also their own wants as well. The needs are going to be more important, but the wants also play a role in if it's a healthy relationship or not. For me personally, I'm looking for somebody that I can hang out with. When I'm at work, when I'm at school, when I'm doing the duties and my responsibilities, I'm working hard and I'm really focused in putting forth my best foot forward and just kind of giving it my all while I'm doing it. So being able to come home and not have to kind of perform at the top level and do a whole lot of things. We don't have to dress up nice and go out to dinner after a long day of work. We can just throw on sweats, sit on the couch, and eat popcorn or something.
Yes.
Just kind of like
Having
relax.
a
and
best
having
friend.
yes, just having a best friend. That's the perfect way to put it.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Just being able to like enjoy the presence of another person without necessarily having to do anything. I know a lot of relationships start out in the beginning going out on fancy dates, going out to do activities and stuff.
Yeah.
And while that is essential to keep a relationship alive and keep it going, there's also nights where I just don't want to do anything. But I want to be with my partner and I want to be like in their presence because their presence heals me and it makes me feel kind of whole and complete after that long day.
Yeah.
Being able to just do my own thing and she does her own thing while we're in the same space, that's a very powerful thing. And I think
Yes.
that's one of the greatest things that I look for in a relationship.
I love that. Having your own life, having your own full and
Yes.
complete life, that is so attractive in
Yeah.
a woman, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And seeing that she's doing her own things, has her own goals, and is accomplishing those and taking steps to further her own benefits, while also being there supportive of my goals and helping me further whatever I'm trying to work on as well.
Yes.
And I think that's where that kind of loyalty factor plays in is if your partner's really about you, whether they like your goals or don't like them, they're going to help you achieve them and get to the best version of yourself that you can be.
That's true. And that kind of goes into the next question. What does a healthy masculine energy man look for in a woman? But before that, there's two more important things that we had talked about. When you are thinking about your ideal relationship, two huge things is the ability to resolve conflict. That's number one. In a peaceful way, being able to come together, respect each other's beliefs. That is so important. No disrespect, no judgment. And another side of that too is doing inner work and healing together. That is a huge part of our most perfect relationship that we can think of. And he had mentioned that there's such a special bond that is created when you do overcome conflict and struggle together.
Yes.
It's like when you two go through a problem together and you face it, your relationship gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And he loves that in relationships. He says this is a huge part, is when we can overcome and become closer. That is the deepest level of intimacy. It's not through sex. It is through building and having a beautiful, healthy bond and overcoming, just going through life together. But did you want to ask something?
Yes, just like on that point that you were talking about conflict resolution, and we touched on it a little bit earlier in the video, I think that arguing is such an ugly form of communication. Having to scream at each other to get your point across and use insults, that's such an unhealthy way of behavior in any aspect of life. But more specifically, if you're in a relationship and really do care for a person, the fact that you're able to scream at them and release anger at that person directly to them it's such an ugly and gross feeling, and that's something that I try not to do ever, is let my emotions boil out to the point where I can't control them and I'm saying things that I'm blacked out, not even understanding what I'm saying. Being able to sit down and have a conversation with healthy disagreement, being able to state your perspective and then figure out a way to come to a resolution despite the disagreement, that's what healthy relationships look like. And that's something that you have to work towards. It's not something that's going to come naturally. It's not something that's going to be there from day one. You have to put forth that effort every single day to control your emotions, not let them boil over, and then also want to find a solution. Because if you don't want to find a solution, you're not going to find one.
That's
but if
so
you're
true.
looking for one, you can work together with that person, bounce ideas off each other, and you'll eventually find something that works for both of you.
So true. It is not normal to disrespect your partner in a relationship. He has never disrespected his partner ever. If a man is calling you a name, if he is screaming at you, if he is pouring that emotion and that energy into you, he is a man that lacks discipline. He lacks self-control. He is in his wounded masculine energy. No time for that. There are men out here who will give you a healthy, loving, safe space, and they respect you in arguments. I'm really glad that we touched on that. Okay, this is a really fun question too. So what does a healthy masculine energy man look for in a woman? This could be controversial, so if you get triggered, that is okay. You do not have to agree with this, but this is what him and I both believe.
Healthy disagreement, guys, remember.
Yes.
I think this is another one of those questions that's going to be very specific to each individual. Not every man is looking for the same exact thing. And even if there's a group of 10 healthy masculine men, they're not all going to want the same thing. They're not looking for the same thing. They don't have the same preferences.
Yeah.
So this is something that you're going to have to ask your man, or ask the potential man in your life, of what he's looking for. Because even though I am going to give my answer, it's not going to be the same for everybody.
Yeah,
But
and if
for-
I could say something real quick on that, every man's preference is different. You are some man's dream woman. So never try to shapeshift. Don't try to be another woman. There is a man out there looking for exactly you.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's so many people out there that the idea that if one person doesn't exactly like who you are, there's so many other fish in the sea. Like there is somebody out there who's going to love you exactly for how you are and want you in the condition that you are.
Yes.
But for me personally, I like a very traditional and classy kind of understanding of how to operate in the world.
Yeah. And by traditional, it's not
Yes.
like it's not the general term of traditional. It's the way that you carry yourself. It's with class and grace and self-respect.
Yes.
And the way that we think of it, it's not being in the club. It's choosing to be in a fulfilling, healthy environment.
Yeah.
That kind of mindset.
And just the idea of like emotional maturity.
Yep.
And being able to know that I shouldn't be doing these things because I'm in a relationship, even though it's Friday night and everybody's going out to the club or the bar. I'm in a relationship and we're going to do something to build our time together because we're finally off work. We have a night to be able to watch a movie or do some painting, go on a wine tour, whatever it is, being able to choose to go with your partner to do something as opposed to going out and having a fun party night.
Yeah.
And there are nights that you need to, just let loose. If you've been working hard for 3 months, being able to kind of celebrate and let that energy out, it's a good thing. But it shouldn't be a consistent every weekend thing, going out and kind of getting wasted and not remembering it the next day. That's very immature and kind of high school, college mentality. And if you're looking for a real long-lasting relationship, that's not something that you should be kind of committing yourself to every weekend.
And it's that idea of how you do anything is how you do everything. When you think about a healthy, conscious, feminine energy woman or a healthy, conscious, masculine energy man, the way that they dress, the way that they speak, the way that they interact with other people, it is the same. It's very consistent in every area. So that's why the idea of, I love when a woman dresses classy.
Yes.
By dressing classy, you can still be sexy, but there's a classy way to do it. And it's that idea of how you hang out with friends of the opposite gender. So another question under that topic was, he looks out for how a woman interacts with other women and how a woman interacts with other men when he's thinking of dating her.
Mm-hmm.
So that idea of interacting with other women, does she show up and pretend to be a woman's friend and then turns around and gossips about her? Men look at this stuff because it shows how you treat others. It's a reflection of yourself. It shows how conscious, how connected to your feminine energy you are. Mm-hmm. And I know you had some really good points about this, how she interacts with men when she's single and when she's in a relationship. Men are always looking at this.
Yes, I think there's a small distinction between how a woman treats men while she's single versus while she's in a relationship.
Yeah.
But there shouldn't be vast differences.
Yep, that was so mind-blowing when he told me that, yeah.
If you're single and you're flirting with every guy and just kind of putting yourself out there to everybody, how am I as a man supposed to trust that when we do enter a relationship that that's going to change? Because if that's the habit that you built over time, then how is it going to change the day that we enter a relationship? Whereas if when you're single and you're respectful to guys and you can hold conversations and small talk, but it doesn't go past there, it's not small flirty comments, it's not small things as to try to attract interest, then when we are in a relationship, I'm so secure in the fact that I know that you're not going to be flirting with guys. I can trust you to hang out with 100 guys and I'm not worried at all because I know how you are as a person.
Yes, and men are always looking. And on that note too, how do you feel about friends of the opposite gender? Let's talk about when you're specifically in a relationship. What do you think about friends of the opposite gender?
So I think it's another one of those things that's a very fine line. There are going to be situations where there are friends in your life that you've been with forever, you've known them since you were in kindergarten, and so just exiting that person out of your life isn't really an option because there's a lot of love there, even though it's a platonic love and we're just friends and it's never been anything more than that, it's never going to be anything more than that. There needs to be an understanding of respect when you do enter a new relationship that this person is now at the top of my priorities list, even over myself sometimes. And that's what love is putting another person above your own priorities. And being able to kind of distance yourself from that friend of the opposite gender is going to go so far in that relationship of proving that loyalty, proving that respect, and proving that trust to that new person in your life.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of people that disagree with the idea of cutting out these friends from your life because they know that deep down, if something were to happen in the relationship, this is a person they can fall back on. This is a backup option for relationships. They want to keep them close. Not too close, but close enough that if things go bad, they have a safety net to fall into. And that's not a good look in a relationship at all.
Nope. Yeah, him and I both are in full agreement with this. Neither one of us have close friends of the opposite gender. I have guy friends, but there is always going to be a boundary. There's always going to be a wall up.
Yes.
My girlfriends, it'll never compare to the relationships that I have. It's very different. Same with him. And like he said, so he believes it is okay to have friends of the opposite gender, not close friends, but if there's any disrespect from that friend of the opposite gender, that friendship needs to end. if you are in a relationship.
Yes.
That we are in full agreement. I see that question again and again. I even see girls asking, what do I do about my guy's best girlfriend? I'm really worried about her. Why does your man have a best friend that is a woman?
Yeah.
That to me is the biggest red flag. And what I would do is I would tell him, this is not okay with me, this is the boundary, but also with that openness that if this is your choice, I accept that, but we are not going to be together.
Mm-hmm.
You have the choice. You don't have to try to change him. But a healthy masculine man wants you to feel safe. He wants you to thrive in your feminine energy and feel good. He's not going to have a close friend of the opposite gender.
Yeah.
That is a huge, huge red flag. And I know that that one can be pretty controversial, but we're in full agreement with that.
And I think on that, like we said the point, and as it's not okay to have those kinds of friends in your life, but I know that I'm a person who likes to understand and like the explanation for things to fully comprehend them. The reason for this being, if you do, say I have a female best friend, for example, while I'm in a relationship,
Yeah.
if I'm going to this other female best friend with problems in my relationship and describing like the walls that we're running into and stuff,
Yeah.
there's a lot of sleazy people in the world who are going to take that as an opportunity to, okay, well, if he's talking down about his woman, if I throw in small comments, we can gang up against her, and now we have a special bond against his woman.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people try to do. If your man is talking to another woman about the issues that you're having in a relationship, that's a big red flag. That's not okay. That's a big problem.
It's done. For me in a relationship, it's done. If your man ever goes to someone of the opposite gender to talk about the relationship, it is done. And I think that that's so important, everything that you just said. And for a lot of women, it's not even that another woman wants your man. 99% of the time, it's not that. It's that she wants to be you. She wants to be on your level. She will try to come and get your man just to be on your level. So if your man is open to that possibility, you do not want to be with him. That should be so unattractive for you.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we talked about that. Okay, this is so funny. Our mom just hopped on the live stream.
What'd she ask?
What'd she say? She goes, I'm so glad I got to see both of you live. I'm so proud of you both for sharing from your growth and maturity. Hi, Mom. We love you. That is so funny. Okay, to the next question. We're almost done. Then we're going to go ahead and chat live with you guys. Male friends teasing and insulting women. What are your thoughts on this?
So, this is another one of those things that's going to be very specific to somebody's personality. I was raised and brought up in the idea that you don't talk down about anybody, despite whether you're joking or not. In every kind of joke, there's going to be some sense of truth in whatever you're saying. So even if you are joking and picking on somebody, they're still hearing those words. It's still tearing them down, even if they laugh it off and play it like it's nothing. There's still some sense that's going to stick with them. So my general rule is just don't pick on people, you know?
Yeah,
like,
and
it's not a good thing to do.
Completely agree. And we talk about this so much here in the Glow Girl community. Friends teasing and joking, making jokes at your expense, unacceptable.
Yes.
Because healthy, confident, happy people do not make jokes about you. My close girlfriends, they've never once teased me, never once made a joke about me. He has never teased me, made a joke, maybe when we were young kids, but never as a conscious adult. If your boyfriend, if your husband is making jokes about you, that is not acceptable. Because like he said, there's always a layer of truth. Healthy, conscious men do not put you down, do not tease in a rude way, do not make jokes about you. Just not gonna happen.
I think specifically on things like insecurities as well, like body image and just positivity on the things that you can't change about your body, whether it's moles or, I know for a lot of guys, gynecomastia is a big issue that they face, and when teased about that, no matter how small the joke is, it doesn't feel good, and it puts them down and kind of makes them self-conscious of their image. And I feel like if you're in a relationship with somebody, it's you two against the world. So why would you be in any situation where you're putting them down? Because it's me and her against the world,
especially
and
in public.
Everybody else. And if everybody else is like picking on me, making jokes and stuff, I want to be able to rely on that one person that I can fully trust to not be like the rest of the world, to be separate and different.
Yeah, that's so good. So if someone is making a joke about you, you stop that and say, that's not funny to me. Or you tell them, please explain that joke. And they will feel so dumb trying to explain it to you. That is a huge boundary that you want to set. So we have 2 more questions. This one's going to be pretty short. Would a man that's healed and that's in his healthy masculine energy, would he want to be with a woman who's not fully healed?
So this is This is a big question, and I think it also just plays into personality. It's one of those things that you're going to have to figure out what kind of man he is, even if he's healthy. It's very specific to the kind of man that he is.
Yeah.
As a man of God, I feel an obligation to help others who don't have it all together. I feel like there's an obligation to lend forth a hand when it's not a lot of work for me. Even if it is a lot of work, being able to kind of help that underdog out and being able to support somebody when they're going through something, that's fulfillment, that's purpose in life.
Yeah.
And finding a partner who is going to do that for you, being able to heal you, that's something that is so rare and just strong. And when you find it, hold on to it with everything.
Yes. I have learned that the hard way. You cannot heal people. It has to be their willingness to heal. But like he said, we are open. Everyone should be open who is healthy and they're conscious to someone who is not all the way healed. We're all in our healing journey. I'm still doing inner work in so many areas. So yes, of course, someone who might be at a higher level of inner work, they're still open even if you feel you're not there yet. It's just, are you willing to get there?
And also just taking it from like a self perspective. If you have done a lot of healing yourself and you're at a point where you feel like you're $1,000,000, you've gotten through all the tough stuff and now it's just small issues that you're kind of kinking out, you were also at a point once in your life where you weren't fully healed and you were broken. So being able to have that understanding of the human condition, that everybody's at a different stage in their journey, the age doesn't really matter. You could be 40 years old and still be completely broken and then healed by 41. You could be 15 years old and you could fully healed from everything from your past. It's going to be a very specific case-by-case basis for everybody. And finding a person who's willing to help you heal through whatever you've been through, despite whatever level of healing they're at, that's a man of quality, and that's something that you should be looking for as one of those kind of main, kind of three qualities in a man.
I love that so much. So it's not so much, is this person as conscious? Have they healed through their attachment style? It's not really that specific. It's, are they doing any inner work in general?
Yes.
Going back to the habits that he was mentioning in the beginning, do they have those habits? Do they have those values? Man or woman, that is what you want to look for in a partner. And then our last question before we take some more questions from the live stream, where do healthy masculine energy men hang out? Where are they?
So it kind of depends on what age and kind of area of their life they're in.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of different age variation on this channel, so there's a lot of people that are going to be in different categories.
We have teenagers, we have women in their 20s, 30s, all the way up to their 80s is what I've seen.
I'm going to speak primarily on like for my age group and demographic just because that's what I know, and I don't want to speak on something that I'm not very familiar with.
Yes.
But when you're in high school, you know, your man's going to be in high school. He's going to be on the football team. He's going to be hanging out after school. Like there's not a whole lot of places that he can hang out that's external to the school grounds or home. But once you graduate high school, you kind of get that sense of freedom. And with that freedom comes responsibility. And that's kind of a turning point in your life where you decide to spend that freedom.
Yeah.
If guys are going out to the bar every weekend, if they're hanging out at different women's houses every weekend, or they're going to the clubs and they're doing all these things to try to attract a whole lot of women into their life, that's not a quality man, because he's trying to throw out a big net and pull out as much as he can. Whereas if he's very determined and knows what he wants, he's focused on his goals, he's focused on setting up his career, he's focused on saving money in this time in his life. He's focused on making sure that he's building his values and building up the baseline so that the next 10 years, the decade of his life, is going to be successful. And that's the man that you want to look for.
That is so good.
Yes, not the guy who's going out to the club and partying every weekend, because that's the guy who in 5 years is still going to be looking what kind of career he wants.
Yes.
As soon as you graduate college, you get that sense of freedom, and you have to make a choice. Are you going to spend this time for good to set up the rest of your life, or are you just going to have fun? And that's the distinction that you need to be able to kind of see is a man trying to have fun in his 20s, or is he trying to set up his life?
Yeah, and you can tell just by specific location. So I know places that he goes, the gym, he is in school, he is at coffee shops. Him and his friends, they go to coffee shops to go and hang out. They don't go to bars, they don't go to clubs. Can you think of any more places like that you might be at?
I think restaurants, like specifically because I'm in the restaurant industry, I have a really good understanding of who's coming into restaurants, what times they come in, and why they're coming in, because I see the habits and repetition.
Our family's so lucky he works in the restaurant business.
Yeah, free food's great too as well.
Yeah.
But just being able to find the areas in your town that the high level people are going to.
Yes.
If you know where the business people, the marketers, the influencers, the networks are growing from, and you're constantly in those places, you're going to build that network. You're going to build that familiarity with a high client base. And then when you eventually do have your own business set up or your own kind of channel, you can come to the table with all these other influencers and investors and say, this is what I'm doing. We should hang out and kind of grow off each other.
Yes.
And that's where you want to be
so
spending your time,
good.
yeah.
The high-end places in your area where people are going to network and meet up and grow and expand their minds.
And it doesn't have to be like very expensive places. I know here personally, one of the biggest places that a lot of people go to is Samba Latte. It's just a
Yeah.
coffee shop, $5 for a cup of coffee. You can get pastries, sandwiches, but everybody in there is doing something to better themselves. Everybody's writing, drawing, on business calls, are always
Yeah,
doing
it's so
something,
nice.
and you can feel the successful energy in the atmosphere.
Yes.
And those are the places you want to find a man.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, I've loved this. So thank you, girls, for submitting those amazing questions. And thank you, CJ,
Of
for
course,
being here.
yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for
for your
having me.
time. All right, I'm going to open up the chat for any questions that are coming through. You and your brother should start a podcast. Love this. Thank you, girl. Someone had said, welcome to the Glow Girl community.
Oh, I
Welcome
love it.
to
Thank
our
you.
chat. Let me see. Yes, this is my brother.
Mm.
Hi, Priya. Welcome, my girl. You guys resemble each other so much.
I think this one's really good.
Oh,
What
which
kind
one?
of jokes?
Ooh, okay. What kind of jokes were you referring to that men and women should not make about you?
Yes. So the things that I've seen, like I was kind of mentioning before, is those little digs at insecurities. Specifically, I see a lot of guys talking about their woman has a gut or a belly or something like that, or the size of certain parts of their body aren't exactly what they want them to be.
Wow.
That kind of body negativity is so
Yeah.
damaging and so just cracking to the infrastructure of her self-image, especially if she trusts you and believes in your opinion and kind of takes your things at face value. When you dig her down, it's going to stick with her, and that's not something that you want to be doing as a man.
Men know this.
Yes.
There's that excuse that, oh, my man doesn't know. He knows.
Yeah.
He is so young and he knows this. Yes.
And especially things like acne,
Yeah.
damaged hair ends, like small things like that, oh, your hair feels dry. Like small digs like that are examples of what we're saying not to do.
Yeah.
The small things like that, even though it may be like, oh, you have a pimple on your forehead, like I'm just pointing it out. It's a small dig, and I know that there's an
Yeah.
insecurity there, so why would I even mention anything about it at all?
Yep. That is why the word conscious, a man who is emotionally intelligent, this is the number one quality to look for, because he's going to know, he's going to have the self-awareness to know how to handle your emotions, how to make you continue to feel safe in your feminine energy. So men know. The information is out there for everyone. We should bring our sister on too. Oh my gosh, we should get the whole family here. Sally says, CJ, please make your own channel. We need more healthy masculine men. He used to have a YouTube channel,
Yeah,
a
I used
gaming
to.
channel.
I used to make cut comms and vlogs. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, that's so fun. Oh, hi Sandra, one of my sweet students. Oh, real quick, my girls too. I just launched my newest course, Divine in a Line. I'm so excited.
Congrats.
So thank you. This is the course that I've created to help you activate and launch your dream business. I have a ton of YouTube videos on this topic already, but creating this business, the Feminine Glow, where I can coach you and create courses and just be with you in this space of feminine energy and inner work, it is my dream business. And I feel so lucky to get to wake up and do this every day. Now my goal is to help you feel and understand what is your passion. How can you change the world? How can you be financially free? How can you live in abundance? That is what this course is. You need to be there if it is on your heart to do this. So I'm teaching that course every week until the end of the year. You are welcome to join. And of course too, I have my favorite course, Master Your Feminine Energy. That is the course. It is the 101 blueprint on how to be a divine feminine woman. It is the course that I wish I could have given my younger self to say, here, this is how you get to the point that you're at now. Relationships, mindset, healing, inner work, all of that is in the course. So you are more than welcome to join. My students who are here on this live stream from those courses, hello, so happy to see you. Sandra, good to see you, girl. Ooh, okay, what can I do when my friend is always hating on my boyfriend? Oh, we just talked about this. Okay, I'm gonna say something real quick and then he'll say something. Healthy friends respect the decisions that you made. What a healthy friend will do is respect and say, okay, I do not know if this is the best partner for you, but I trust your opinion and I'm here by your side. I love you. This is what I think is the best for you, but I also want to be by your side and respect your decision. They should not always be hating on your boyfriend. I
think that a true friend, and I have a great example of this, my brother, through as long as I can remember, we just appeared together one day and we've been together ever since.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't always agree with my opinion, and he'll tell me, he's not afraid to tell me, like, I disagree with you 100%, he's always going to support me. He's always going to have my back, even if he doesn't agree at all. He's going to help me get to where I want to go, even if it's just so that I can learn a lesson of what I was doing was wrong.
Yep.
He's always going to be there to support me and help me. And if your friend's hating on your boyfriend or your relationship, that's kind of an issue. It's problematic. And you also can look into it deeper as, why is that hate? What's the motivation for hate?
Yeah.
Is it to get us apart so that she can move in? Is it genuinely looking out for me and seeing that there's something there? Is there an issue that I'm not seeing because I'm blindsided by love? If so, why isn't that friend communicating that to you? Why isn't she telling you what the hate is there for? Finding that motivation is the key to figuring out what that solution will be.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I need to have him on here again. This is awesome. Okay, do you like that question?
Yes.
Okay, so Matilda, oh Matilda, so nice to see you, girl. Oh my gosh, I love that all my students are here. Okay, CJ, do you have a male role model or some healthy masculine men that you look up to? This is a great question to end the live stream.
Yes. So I think this is the greatest question that I've seen in such a long time. And you have to be so very careful with putting role models and people in high pedestals in your life.
Yeah.
People are imperfect. That's always going to be the case. It always has been. There's never going to be another perfect person other than Jesus again.
Yeah.
So putting anybody in a pedestal, you're putting somebody who's flawed in a perfect light. And that's very dangerous, because when that person eventually does make a mistake, and they are going to, things are crumbling. You're going, why is this perfect person who I set to be like my goal, why aren't they doing everything right? What is going on? So being able to have role models, but not putting them in perfect light. Giving a lot of good information, but everything still has to be processed and filtered through my mind. Not having that blind kind of loyalty and just following people because they're your role model.
Yeah.
That's the distinction you have to make. And a lot of the people who have kind of trained me throughout my work and school life as I've gotten older and more mature, seeing people who have already done the things that I want to do, they've had this successful career, they've kind of done everything that they want to, just being able to ask them, like, how did you do it? Like, how did you get through the tough nights when you're cramming for school? Like, what did you do to overcome that? And just being able to take that advice, but also not looking at them with perfect light.
There's one more question that I really want to take. So someone says, any relationship advice for my 17-year-old daughter? She's planning to go on her first date soon. That is amazing, and that's so exciting for her. Here's what I would say as a feminine energy coach. Go into the date with the mindset that you are practicing. You are practicing your confidence. You're practicing your feminine energy. You're just playing around and exploring the world. Never the intention of the outcome or where this could go. I would tell her, see and check in with your body. How do I feel right now? Do I feel nervous? Do I feel that I'm leaning towards this man? Do I feel that I'm able to breathe in my body and to feel safe? How do I feel when he speaks to me? What are the first thoughts? What are the first limiting beliefs that come? To me, a date is an opportunity to do inner work. It's to see, how is your mind working? How does your body feel? How can you show up and practice as the most radiant, the most confident, beautiful version of yourself? What would you say?
I think that kind of summarizes everything, but also just looking at it as, like, this isn't everything that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
It's the first date at 17, like, you're not even a quarter of the way through your life. So this may not be the relationship that works out for you. So putting all that pressure on, like, this needs to go perfect, I need to be dressed perfect, I need to eat a small amount of food as to not look, like, you don't have to think that deep about it. You're meeting this person for the first time, or if you've known them before and you're starting a new stage of that relationship, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I think that so many times we put so much pressure on that first date of choosing the right location, choosing the right clothes, like talking a certain way to hope that that person likes you, and just trying to be somebody who that person wants. Be yourself, because if you're trying to be somebody else, it may work for those first couple dates, but eventually you're going to have to go back to being yourself, and then it's not going to work because that person knew a different version of you.
Yes, that is so good.
So just staying authentic to who you are. If that person doesn't like that, that's okay. They don't need to be with you. You don't need them. You were fine before. You're going to be fine after. So be authentic, be true to yourself, and if that person really does, like, vibe with that and they like you for who you are, now you're finding yourself in a healthy relationship that started with truth and kind of face value.
And like we said, you are someone's dream woman. So I would tell that to your daughter. There is a man out there that he will just treat her like a queen. He loves everything about her. If she feels that she has to change any part of herself, that's not the man. And that is okay. I love that you're here and that your daughter gets to go on this date. How exciting. My girls, I'm so sad that we have to leave you. Thank you so much for all of your beautiful questions. And I see some of you are saying that you're going to join the course. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much, CJ, for you coming and for your time. Yes, thank you. I already want to have him back. So please in the comments, let me know what other questions you would like to see, what other types of videos you would like to see. And I hope that you girls have a beautiful rest of your week. I will see you soon. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.